Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Got here a 2011 Ford Edge, and the customer come in with a flashing check engine light. There's a little bit of a story. I know some of you don't like them stories, but you'll have to get over it. Either watch the video or turn it off, one of the two. Anyway, the customer yesterday, I'm trying to condense this, what he told me. Yesterday, there was a problem apparently with Misfire. So the customer went, and I don't know if not the customer, but his boss, never mind that, went ahead and pulled the intake off of it, replaced all the spark plugs, and they replaced the coil here on the number 6 cylinder, which lives up here in the front, very back one. So they replaced the coil. They used a Blue Streak coil from the O'Reilly, and the car ran for, he said, about an hour. Customer just got the car like a month ago. It ran for about an hour. Well, he's from Tennessee. I'm in Illinois, so he made it a ways up the road with it. And needless to say, I put the scan tool on it. We had some misfires on number 6. We had a couple on number 5, nothing there. But we also have a code for an open on the F circuit here. I thought to further pursue that with the scan tool, I changed my mind because these are generally pretty easy. And also, I personally, I'm not saying that's what it is, but I personally had problems before with aftermarket coils on these Fords. So you probably done noticed, I opened the harness up. These are very, very simple because the harness runs right over the top. I've pulled the coil. I had to obviously haul the customer off. I did that already because, I mean, that's going to take me a while, and this vehicle may be here for a minute or two. I elaborate. So I thought to myself, I'll go straight to the test light. And what I did here, guys, I don't want to run the vehicle right now. I closed the door. It's hotter than blazes out there. I really don't want to open the door or run the engine anymore right this moment. But what I ended up doing, test leak negative, just with the test light. I find my common color, which in the front here happens to be the purple. So I'll go in there and I test for the power, and all 3 purple wires, of course, have a good, nice, and bright test light. Every one of them has a nice and bright test light, okay? So we've got this here. So I move on. I switch to the battery positive. I switch my test light to battery positive, and now this will require for us to run the vehicle. Now, we can go ahead and go to the neighboring wire. This is just a 2-wire design, although it's a 3-wire plug. It's a 2-wire design. We go to the neighboring wire. That is our control circuit. The control is supplied by the computer here. There's also the reason why I undid that. So, looking at this first one, we got a flickering light. Looking at the second one, got a flickering light. Looking at the third one, we have a solid light. Not quite as bright as the power feed itself, but nonetheless, it is solid. Generally, long story short, generally on these here, I think it's a driver issue with the computer. We could have a wire somehow or another going to power and actually throwing power on here. But that's easily checked. As a matter of fact, really, no more harness than what that is. One really doesn't have to rely on meters and all that good stuff. You can really open that harness up in no time flat, and this is just loom, go right back together, and wrap a little bit of tape on it. So that can be done. That is an option. That wouldn't take that long, I mean, by any stretch of the imagination. But anyway, you can already believe me, I own these wires here. There's nothing unusual going on with the wires. Now, I really don't want to do this with the camera rolling and me having to explain, because like I said, for one, I like to not get the heat in the shop if I can. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go, I done printed me a wiring diagram, so I got my wire colors, because obviously the backside here, the coils are covered. I can't get to the wires without removing the intake, but I can't run the vehicle without an intake on it. So I use back probe, and I'm going to find all of my coils, which are going to live in a center plug, You see that plug, that this wiring harness here is split. Part of it goes to the back, part of it comes around and is in the front. So all of the coils are in this bundle right here in the middle. That's a 2011 Edge. Now on this one here, this is in the middle. We've got a purple, black, or brown. We got a white with a brown, and then we got one over here that I didn't uncover. I just uncovered these here. I took the tape off of those because that was before I even pulled a wiring diagram. I ended up finding my purple wire here and checked resistance on the wire. So I did all that. So now I got to get my wiring diagram and see what coils have what colors. So according to our wiring diagram, I should have blown that up a little bit. We have of course, the violet is our feed. And then we have the coil number 5 is supposed to be a white and a brown. And we can't always depend on service information to give us the right wire colors, especially not when they are redrawn, because the OE doesn't provide these color wiring diagrams. But anyway, according to this wiring diagram, the coil number 5 has got a white and a brown. I guess that could be a brown. I can't tell if that's brown or black, but it is a white wire, and there is white and brown right here. So we can match up. I think they're correct. Coil number 6, it's supposed to be violet and a brown. That is a violet and a brown. That is right here, and so on. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm going to assume that, well, assuming may be a bad thing, but anyway, for the moment, I have no choice but to believe what the wiring diagram is saying. Now, I did verify this on the OE wiring diagram. They did have the same colors listed on it, so I can only assume that this is going to be correct while I'm doing the test here in just a minute. I think I got enough back probes. I hope we can just stick 6 of them in there and test all 6 cylinders. I'm fairly certain that I do have enough of them. And I will show you the control, or will show you the control. We need to verify control. I was already assumed that. Sorry about that. So we're going to check that here in just a minute. Like I said, I don't want to run the vehicle too long because it is so freaking hot outside. But anyway, I'll have to prep all that, and I'm going to turn the camera off for just a minute and then back on when I get done. Okay, one more thing that I almost forgot that. Now, I am very suspicious that the computer in it is blown. It's very common on these. Well, I probably shouldn't say that. I've seen it multiple times. I'll leave it at that. You draw your own conclusion from that. I'm not going to tell you that's a common thing, but anyway, I've seen it actually many times. But anyway, that aside, I don't know if you've been following the news. There is I almost said national, there's I think an international chip shortage right now, and the reason I've mentioned it is because so far everybody that I called, they're telling me not available, can't get it, takes 3 or 4 weeks to get. This is my area, of course. Don't know about your area, can't make that claim. Anyway, I figured I'd add that in there. That's ouch. Ouch for this guy here because he was heading to work. This was not a joyride. This was actually him heading out to go to his job. But anyway, that's where we are. I said I don't know how good this is going to work out. I really don't. Don't have a cameraman, so got me a little sheet here. I just wrote it down, what's what. It doesn't matter right now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 back probes stuck in the holes. Hopefully we are in there good and not crossing anything, which I don't think I am crossing it, so I made sure I was trying to be really careful. I want to start this thing up and do this really quick. I don't really want to talk about it a whole lot. If I have a bad connection, well, I'll have to play with that, I guess. I don't want to, like I said, I do not want to end up heating the engine up to where we can't work on it again. It did start up, that's a good thing. Didn't short anything vital. Pulses. 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 No pulse. This one here is maybe bad as well. It has a little bit of pulsation. This is a solid light, like I said. This is our number 6 for sure. I do know that one. Don't know what the green one is. That may have been the other one that the computer was complaining about. This one is bad. So that is all of them. This is what it should be. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back on. I don't want to keep messing around and then end up crossing something. So I need to figure out my green. I already know the purple over here, or violet, what they call it, with the brown trace. I do know that. That's my number 6 coil. The back probe over here, that green back probe, it's just luck that it's a different color. But actually, we'll have to see what that is. I'm going to unplug that, turn the camera back on. Did make a little bit of boo-boo. I had the green one in the wrong hole. Don't know what it is, don't care about what that is right now. Everything else works on the vehicle. We have no other problems. It was just a number 6. I did verify it, make sure that it's actually working. It is actually working. So everything on the rear bank is working the way it's supposed to. I did make a little boo-boo here. Like I said, had the wrong hole. It is only the one. It's the number 6. I said, I've already verified that there is nothing going to power in this wire in here anywhere. There's nothing hurt that makes it go to power. At this point in time, the computer is going to have to come out. Yeah, well, computer has to come out. That's you're doing a Ford computer. Anytime I've ever done one, there's multiple options for the same vehicle. Kind of keep that in mind. You will need your tag number. Part number, this is what you'll have to have. Right here, that's the business end. That one you'll have to match up whenever you get one of these things. So I'm 100% sure we need a computer in this vehicle, so I don't mind opening it up, taking a look at it, see if we can see what we can see. Of course, I'm gonna turn the camera off for that one. If I see anything interesting, I'll let you know, because I don't know enough about this to mess with it. I can tell you that already. So anyway, bear with me. As a side note, just as the coil, as soon as I started prying it open a little bit, a distinct electrical smell came out of here. Pretty good indicator of what's going on. At least it is to me. I am not no electronic specialist, but let me see if I get my bearings over here. So that little fella right here, I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up. Let me tilt this a little bit. It is roasted. It's a little toasty. I don't really see any other ones that are, like I said, I try to get my bearings over here, but I don't see any other ones that are discolored. We got all these MOSFETs over here. I don't see any other ones that are discolored on it. I only see this one right here. Pretty easy pickings to get to it. I don't know what else it would have done to the to this computer, but actually I had been able before to change a MOSFET and make it work. Not saying that I can repair computers. I'm just saying I had been able to change MOSFET and make it work. That's all I'm saying, and that's all I'm saying. So 10,000% confirmed that this computer here is smoked, or was smoked. When I took the MOSFET off of it, actually it was broken in half already, so that was definitely the culprit, or one of the culprits. Like I said, I don't know what this is going to do. I'm going to be very careful turning the key on. I do know that. I'm probably going to get somebody out here to turn the key on, and I'll be like, whoa, turn it off! So, let me go ahead and get somebody. Okay, turn it on. Off. Turn it off. It did start back up miraculously. I don't know if you can see that. We have control now on this wire. It is flickering. So, problem is coil. I can't get a coil. Doggy, that don't take long to stink this place up. Of course, my shop's pretty small, so it doesn't take long. Anyway, because we got obviously a cylinder that's not contributing at this point in time. To be honest, my eyes ain't that good, so if it wouldn't have been for the bad driver in here in the first place, I mean, it being smoked or MOSFET, whatever, I probably wouldn't have messed with it because I have a hard time seeing the traces even with a cheater on my head. So I probably wouldn't have messed with it, but that was fairly easy for me to see. It was actually, as big as these parts are, that is actually very easy to put on the board. Am I going to make this a guaranteed repair? No, absolutely not. If the customer wants to replace the computer later on, he can. If he wants to trust this, he can. That's up to the customer. One thing is for sure, like I said, he was on the way to work. He's not too happy about the whole situation in the first place, so he'll probably take it. If this actually works and I no longer have any misfires, he'll probably run with it if I was a guessing man. So anyway, I'm going to pause the camera back up. I'm going to try to find a coil that is a little bit more suitable. So, talk to the customer, explain the situation to him. I said, look, you know, I don't feel comfortable enough to guarantee a computer like that. So I'm not going to give a guarantee. He needs to move on with it. He's perfectly fine with what I'm doing. He said, if that gets me going, that's perfect. Of course, we charge accordingly. I wouldn't be very good at what I'm doing here if I wouldn't pull that plug out just to see. And of course, right away, I found a big problem. Now, at this stage, I'm going to have to call the customer back. This thing here has got a huge gap. I mean, a huge gap. I don't know if the camera's going to be able to see that, but yeah, it's ginormous. I'll have to look up the spec on it. I don't know what spec is, but anyway, we'll do that next because now I feel like it may ruin what we just fixed if I don't check the gaps on that. So I'm pause that camera up again, and we'll. Oh, by the way, so throw that in there. This is the coil. Well, that's the number for it right there. So we are going to put Motorcraft coil back in it, which I highly recommend on these Fords. So let me go ahead and look up specs. I'll turn the camera back on. So according to service information, the gap is supposed to be 54. Oh, yeah, again. Okay, had to put my other glasses on. I've got here 30 and 25. My math is correct. That is 55. The gap is 54. It's supposed to be 54. We'll squish them together. So we got wiggle room here. Well, let's go again. So 30 and 32 still got room. So I wanted to verify that real quick. That and he's come out. I'm afraid that, of course, 3 of them are easy, 3 of them are not so easy. That right there, 100% enough to burn a coil on these Fords. 100%. I'm absolutely positive. I just went ahead and stuck the tip of the calipers and measured over the top of it. They're right. It's right about 74,000, and I just spoke to the customer. Customer wants to go ahead and fix it because he doesn't want to smoke any more coils. He told me that his boss did it, and they're all the same. So he said, oh yeah, he gapped all of them. So customer wants that fixed, which that's not my place to say anyway. That really wasn't my place to say. But anyhow, I'll have to make another run weekend. So get some plugs and go from there. So moving on, I'll give you a quick overview. Let me flip the screen. There's a bracket back here. It's got an 8mm headed bolt. Of course, you got the 8mm headed bolts in here, a couple of hoses here, and then one in the back, a couple of plug-ins, and the intake comes right off. Not a big deal on the intake part of it. Like I said, I'm not going to film this whole process. Gasket visual inspection. These are reusable. It would appear that they actually replaced the gasket. We do want to make sure that no crud is going to fall into the intake runner here. We've got some dent insulation back here that I'm going to go ahead, because it is all damaged and it's kind of in the way from you seeing in the back right there. I'm going to go ahead and trim that up. And like I said, it's damaged, it's hanging, it's no good for nothing. Right here, I'm gonna, well, it's good for dusting. I'm gonna go ahead and trim that up with a knife a little bit, but long and short of it, that's about it. We'll yank the plugs out of it. Like I said, customer done advised me, they're all gonna be the same, so we're not gonna have a surprise there. I got some Motorcraft plugs. Check the gap. I set them on 51 thousandths, is why I set them, which is perfectly acceptable, better than 74 thousandths. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, add one more thing to it. I do know that for those of you that use scopes, I know what we could have done here. We could have done some current ramps with known good plug and a plug that's gapped way too big. You know, we could have done some current ramps on it, but it's getting later in the afternoon. Honestly, I just as soon wrap this thing up. I'll take time the next time I do something similar. I'll take time and we'll do some current ramps. OMG, front cylinder, that's even worse. I'd almost take the time to measure that right here. I mean, it's completely bent open. I don't talk about people in general, but what a moron. I can only say this because that right there is ridiculous. And the customer is exactly correct. He bent them all. Go ahead and pause that camera back up. Rear bank, two really bad, one not so much. These two are really bad. One of them bad, but not as bad. So I don't know what he was trying to achieve there, but anyway, we've got the, like I said, we got the plugs. So fix to go put the plugs back in. Something else we also noticed right away is none of the plugs were tight in there. I mean, they weren't. I wouldn't even consider it hand tight. Essentially, that ain't gonna hurt it, but still, I like my plugs to be at least somewhat tight. And yes, I did put the new coil in the back. I'm doing that on purpose. I guess they don't believe in clipping wire harness back into place. None of that was hooked back up, so. Of course, we got to also keep in mind something else. I haven't actually tried this yet. So far I know my signal is back, but I haven't actually tried it yet because, like I said earlier, I think I mentioned that earlier, because I would have never ever put the coil in the hole and just try it, because without looking at the spark plugs, and well, that's why. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the camera back up so videos don't get so long. Put the intake back on. Set the intake back up. Start tightening the bolts out, and I'm gonna tell you something that I've learned many moons ago. If for some reason you don't have service information on something like this, if in doubt, from the middle out. You can remember that phrase, you know, if in doubt, from the middle out. That's how I tighten fasteners when it comes to surfaces. So, just say it. Of course, look at service information, be the better thing to do. Anyway. Yep, there's a little bit of bad news. That didn't work out as planned. I did nothing funny here, by the way. I don't mean to laugh, but I had the vehicle running. I started it up a while ago, real quick. You know, I cracked the door a little bit, started the vehicle up, and it ran for about 3 to 5 minutes. Unfortunately, these are a little bit different MOSFETs than what, excuse me, some of the other computers had. These here is a little bit too weak sauce. They're not quite heavy enough, well, to give you the difference. What's in it is a 20 amp. What I put in it was a 12. So the 12 is apparently not able to handle the stress. It actually smoked it again. Shut the vehicle off right away, and so I'm pretty much at the end of what I'm going to be able to do for him. So unfortunately, I tried really hard to get him back on the road today, but that's not going to happen now. I don't have any scrap computers here or so that I could take anything off of. You know, it's just that's the end of the line for me. We'll have to wait till Monday. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately that video didn't turn out as good as I hoped, but that's neither here nor there. I went ahead and sourced me a module from a junkyard, and I went ahead and put it in. That's the module that I put in. The number on it will be different now, but we don't have to change it. I actually did have some programming labels here, but I'm out of them. I don't got any more of them. Normally I put a programming label on it saying that computer has been updated. But we'll mark it on the lip here, since that really is something that nobody sees. So I gotta fix my wiring right there, get some tape on that, wrap that all up, and pause the camera up, turn the camera back on when I get that part done. So, put everything back on, put our wiring back in, the computer back in, got all that done, hooked all this up. Now we've ran this vehicle without mass airflow, air temp sensor and all that good stuff, so we are going to have to go ahead and hook the scaling tool up one more time, reset some stuff, clear the engine codes that are in it now. I was a little bit in a hurry, that's why I didn't show the programming part of it. If y'all want me to show the programming part of it, I will do it on the next one, which I'm sure we'll get soon. Like I said, I am sure we got some codes in there. Of course, we had to do an immobilizer reset, or relearn, whatever you want to call that. I'll get you on that screen over there if you want to. Clearance. Batteries are almost dead. Just lost one battery. I'm not going to do anything else. I reset the keep life memory. Let it relearn on its own what it needs to do. I'm going to go ahead and start this thing up. Make sure it doesn't jitter like it did before. Which I already know it doesn't, but you know how you guys get? Smooth. Should have some good operation, good coil operation. Shouldn't be no check engine lights and all that good business. So there you have it, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the old camera off, and we'll see you on the next one. Appreciate everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.